Hello, how y'all doing? It's Devorjae, and this is another episode of Truth 7, and just gonna be speaking truth all the time. It's been a couple weeks since I did an episode, and but this episode I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna give an update of what's going on um, in reality, mostly in the Western world, and just tidbits of information, um, explaining a couple things because I'm also gonna do a video after this talking about full moon rituals and um, prayers and energies, and just talk about things about the full moon and what you can do for manifestation. Um, so yeah, but for the most part, it's just hit October. I mean, it's November, and we just came out of a full moon, and it's almost a year's in. And at this year's end, uh, certain programming, certain things have gone on, such as the Cubs are going to win the World Series, such as predicted in Back to the Future. Um, Hoverboards came out this end of the year for accessibility, such as referring to Back to the Future. Um, there's a show called Rick and Morty that hit its anniversary this year, which is a replica of um, Back to the Future, but in cartoon form, and it's part of the Seth Rogen Adult Swim branch um, that's connected to the media that basically is allowed to even put out certain programs and messages, and these people are connected and put out certain things in their shows to foretell or program or give hints of what's happening in the future. If y'all don't know about predictive programming or reality creating or any of that, to touch on, it's just basically when these directors, these creators, they whether it's intuitively, naturally having the ability to create their realities and put forth in their creations that are connected to a program on screen for us to see and eventually they play out, whether that's intuitively or whether it's directed, which means written on paper, given to them to implement within their work, and then however they do it plays out in reality, and we end up seeing it and it ends up happening. That's just to touch on programming and what it is. Family Guy does it a lot. Like I said, a lot of cartoons do it a lot. It's been going on forever within cartoons, because that's something that the younger audience will see, and even older audience right now because of the mixture of genres and whatnot. And cartoons are for everyone. Um, but yeah, that basically the view of those and it being connected to universal consciousness, and basically for most people who watch TV on a daily basis, they're in their lower nature or in the drone phase of life, the hollow phase. So they're just watching it. They're not really. They're just going through emotions, and they see it, and they're all connected on the same thought process, the norm process, and they see it and it plays out. And that's what that is. But as far as this end of this year was hugely connected to Back to the Future, with a lot of things, such as even with CERN, warping things and opening up portals and letting a lot of new stuff is going to be coming in, especially you're going to see in 2016 a lot of new things. Everything's been here, nothing's new under the sun. It's just constantly being not as exclusive to certain beings, and it's being passed down into our reality for us to just use. And but as far as that goes, there's some more information even that connects to everything and connects to just the overall reality being played out. And when you're able to basically lift up that curtain or look behind the veil and see the works that's going on for the presentation, it's I mean, for me personally, I think it's funny. I can smile at it because I know I'm doing the same thing. Everyone's doing the same thing, but when you're aware that you're doing it, that's what makes the big difference. So there's certain information such as a lot of people do not know But Bill Gates, for instance, Bill Gates, he's invested into mosquitoes and also childbirth related things and birth control type things. And if you don't know who Bill Gates is, Bill Gates, he's someone obviously of a higher amount of consciousness, and he's able to create programs, computer programs for the world to thrive off of. And within his creations of his knowledge, this is where in the reality you have to realize and know how his investing and his control over mosquitoes and childbirth, he's basically, this foreshadows and shows, or it's like put in front of your face, the route connecting to transhumanism, and also just the route of a mechanized, controlled reality. I mean, all in all to say, because this is how this connects with him investing or having his input in mosquitoes. Because bugs in general, their race, their species, bugs, the insectoids, they, within this reality that we share with them, bugs, and a lot of people don't look at it that way, but I've already done a video of telling the 3 beings that are living in this realm of existence that are in surface that you see every day that's in front of your face. Insects, when you think of insects, you have to think of insects as drone beings. That's the best way, because everyone's keeping tabs on the reality. There's different things keeping different tabs on the reality. They're governed, different beings that are governed. But for the most part, insectoids, they're usually they're watching, they're the eyes of the camera. Like, yeah, you have other beings, reptilians, you have grays, you have these other beings that have their sections of their whole within reality. But for drone and for watch out and for viewing purposes and for transference of things, transference of energies, on a small base material scale in this world, they have that. That's their part of their purpose, all in all. Because a lot of people, I guess, on the non-material realm, behind the scene of the material realm and the ether realm, a lot of people will recall seeing insectoids in their dreams or whatever, and they're always cloaking. They seem to always keeping guard or something, or trying to hold within something, so you don't breach out. But unless you just got that mind power, you can. But that's where most people have accounts, and then more in the etheric realm about them. And as far as in the material realm, when you think of butterflies, think of bees, when you think of all insects, what they are doing on the small scale reflects something bigger, such as the drop of bees, is diluting honey that can be produced. Even though, yeah, we can produce, that's the thing, that's the bad part, you don't want to do that. We can produce our own honey by basically going through certain processes or chemical processes, but you don't want processed honey, you want natural honey. You want natural things to keep the cycles going. When you have these natural beings, these insect beings that are doing their part in carrying over transference of certain nutrients and products on a small level that we don't think about. It's like we know about it, but we don't think about how detrimental it is. They're doing that, and not to go far off track, touch back on Bill Gates and basically his hand in mosquitoes. For the most part, bioengineered mosquitoes, they can pretty much do whatever they want, and it's been going on with implementing certain information, and information can come through light, information can come through chemical, information can come through different wave frequency forms. So for the fact that they're putting it out, and you can have the knowledge and knowing that there's a man who can have mechanized insect beings, this contributes and attributes to even human beings, certain things being implemented in them as these leaky mosquitoes, but they also have the cover up and have the use for these mosquitoes to basically infiltrate other mosquitoes and transform them, so that the so-called diseases they carry are transformed to something else. So that's, I don't use the word scary, but for some people, oh, that's scary. That's the truth of it, and that's what he's doing with these mosquitoes. Yeah, everything. It's all in perspective. You can't say, oh, what they're doing, oh, is bad or it's good. This is just what they are doing in general, and what it's a part of an agenda. To touch on birth control, he and some other lady, but are touching on birth control. These people create programs and computer programs that also have a level of consciousness of creation for universal conscious connection purposes. So for the fact that computers, childbirth, birth control, mosquitoes, that's out of their lane, but they're going to touch it because those two things pretty much lead into future correspondence. So that's the touch on. That's just some information based on that has come into me or come in my way for me to put out in simple terms so people understand. So that in itself should I should say people, you should need to go searching, go looking, and just catch up or see everything that's being put out in front of you. I get a lot of questions. People ask, "Hey, well, how do you know this? Like, how do you find? Like, how do you know?" And it's information. It's out there. Everything's out there. Like, everything. Everybody knows everything. You just have to unlock it. Like, an example of that. So it's like I can say riding a bike. It's like people, you have to learn to ride a bike, but it's like the thing is you may have known how to ride a bike way long ago. And other examples is when I'm saying things have to be unlocked. There are points that when you meditate or when you're raising your consciousness or raising your frequency, you're tapping into different realms. You're tapping into different chemicals. You're tapping into yourself. Basically, so when you're tapping into yourself, you unhinge some things and you unhinge some understandings, even in that moment. And then when you come back to your frequency, it's like you can bring that information back down. You're like, oh, okay, you have a more of a Personally, I know I have more of an overstanding, or you can have an overstanding and look down on the game and see the pieces in play and be like, oh, well, that move will make that move. Will make this happen. So it's that knowing the information is in front of you and then unlocking it. Because my next video, I'm probably going to touch on it. But when it gets to unlocking certain things, there are people in the East, like they understand most Western world concepts. They understand, they can find some things mundane. Yeah, they know about the desires and creation, but most things are mundane, which is why they are able to tap into a certain essence and have a certain spiritual standing. And in the Western world, that it's not fearing, but that's like it's hard to understand for a Western world person, the typical Western world person. So it's just like I was saying, these groups in the East or more spiritual groups, they unlock their knowings with natural earthly substances and natural being substance, like the substance of things, and they're able to tap and see past what's going on. So that's just a touch on that. Y'all can do some research. Just type in Bill Gates, mosquitoes, birth control, childbirth, and then just connect the dots to see that obviously that's a part of the agenda or implementing a transference. And I hope the information I fed you understood, and that you comprehended as, okay, it's like, okay, I see what that does connect to. As I said, it's an inclusive universe. When you're an alchemist, when you're a magician, when you're a god, when you're a creator, you see that. And it's not to say that, oh, what they're doing is good or what they're doing is bad. It's not to say any of that. Like I said, it's just a play out of reality. As I said, hoverboards are out now. A lot of people didn't even think that was possible. Well, people didn't know it's possible, but it's actually here now. It's now here that you can use it. A hoverboard. the things that if you're an 80s or 90s kid, you're watching on TV as a cartoon, like, oh, that'd be cool to have. But they bring out the ancient roller skateboard, but now implement the update version of the hoverboard. And the Cubs winning the World Series, and this it's just the reality playing out. So I hope this information was helpful. This is Devorjae, True 7. I'll let you later.